गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। The popular question, or rather the normal question which many people have asked me is, what will happen on the China border? Will China intervene? Well, all these questions came up during the heat of Op Sindur. But let me look at it a little beyond that. We are entering the operation seasons. This is the time when a lot of things open up in uh, Ladakh. The passes open. If you remember, 2020, this is a time when things started happening in Eastern Ladakh. So, in that context, there's full reason to believe there's a window for Pakistan to intervene still. So far, whatever you call it, peace, ceasefire, truce, it's all fragile. Anything can reverse the whole story. It just takes one small incident to take it back to that day. So it's in that context I thought, let me analyze as to whether the PLA can intervene, whether they can make use of the fact that, look, India is busy with Pakistan, let me do something. That's a very, logical question with everyone's mind. So I thought, let me address a few issues. There's no definitive answer to this, but there are some issues in this, which I thought, let me put across to everyone. At the outset, I must also say I still don't have internet where I have, you know, where I am. I am coming on personal hotspot. So if there is a bit of a problem in getting this through to you, just bear with it. If the outputs are not great, sorry. By evening, I think I should be in good space. Right. Uh, the first thing, let me talk of seasons. By next month, the monsoons will be here. The moment monsoons start happening in a month or so, the rivers in Punjab will be in spate, and then that actually calls off, though there are monsoons options and all that, it virtually calls off any great operations in Punjab. Of course, it doesn't stop air operations from going on. So there's a mismatch. And when monsoons happen in the northeast, the Chinese options also are out of the table. Chinese options are, in the northeast, October, November, December. That's too far away. Not Eastern Ladakh, the options open now for them to do anything. So I feel that, this is the time where things can happen if things go southwards. So in this context, let me see. Let me put across a few of my thoughts. What is the history of intervention by China and Pakistan involving India? You will see that it's very minimal. 65, the Chinese didn't react. 71, we blocked them off. 71, when we went into Bangladesh, we blocked the North Sikkim or the Sikkim story completely. They couldn't do anything. In any case, they were not this. I don't think they were in a position to do anything at that time. But today they are in a better position. Okay. Uh, so they've not intervened. Even in 99, Kargil, they didn't intervene. Actually, they didn't do any movement in 99. Let's look at the reverse. So the history is that whenever there's a problem with Pakistan, China has not intervened. In fact, if there is any history now, it's a new history. We'll talk of that a little later. The second flip of the story is that, has Pakistan helped China? Again, there's no evidence. 2020, when Eastern Ladakh intrusions happened, the Pakistani view was that why should we go and help them? They didn't help us. So that latent feeling will be there, right? But that is something which is a doubt in my own mind, because the Pakistan might find it an opportunity to settle some of their accounts, and plus with Pakistan so dependent on China, they might do something to find favor with China. So these are the things, the dynamics which are there. But let's get to the current situation. What happened in Op Sindur? The I wouldn't say the evidence, but the strong indications are that there is part combat support was there of China in Pakistan. The Chinese were manning or helping Pakistanis to man their systems. Uh, I understand that on the first day after we attacked Lahore, and in fact, not the first day, the second day, when we attacked their air defense systems, that was when the Chinese quit. They said, look, if anything happens in Chinese involvement in Pakistan's EW capability, EAO are there, then they'll be in the line of fire diplomatically. So they quit. But the flip side is, I won't say flip side, so that's part combat support. Physically, troops might not be there, but they were in some thing there. There's no movement anywhere else. No, no mobilization, no air activity, nothing which has been reported. There would be some, but not much. That won't be local. Okay. ISR support, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. Complete dependence of Pakistan on China. Their Bedu links, uplinks, which we hit and we decapacitated them, I think was a masterpiece. But the flip thing is that, look, they were there. Full logistic support was given. China would have given them all kinds of logistic support through Gwadar and all that. And if need, in fact, boron, they would have had got ready-made boron, and which got transported, to Pakistan to arrest that nuclear leak. So logistic support was there, and you must expect it. Narrative support is 200%. If you read the Chinese media, it appears as if Pakistan. It's not Pakistan who won the war, but China which has won the war for many reasons, and we'll talk of it. And their internal media, their international media is awash with the fact that Chinese technology has won the war for Pakistan. India has been beaten, and the Western technology has been overtaken, and China has come of age. Chinese weapons have come of age, and things like that. So that's a huge thing which is going on. Okay, that's the issue which you have to understand, right? And this won't. Why is all this happening? I have a different take on it. Is it only support to Pakistan, or is it something more? That's my view, and this is it. I thought over it, and I thought this is the thing. In countries like Pakistan and China, narratives are not for international support alone or international audience alone. They are meant for internal purposes. If just think, unless China proves to its people that look, we are on the top of the thing, our weapons are good, we know how to take care of China. If the doubts come in, then the regime survival is at stake. And that's true even for Pakistan. That if anything comes out of this whole story, that Pakistan army was found incapable, or right, then there's a question on the Pakistan army that they can't allow. That's for Pakistan, but equally for China. So they have to tout Chinese victory. Why? Whether they go into Taiwan or not, it doesn't matter. It's the same J10Cs which will go there. Same JF-15s will 17s will go there. Same HQ-9 will be utilized there. Same PL-15 missiles will be used there. So if they seem to be failing, how will they say we'll go to Taiwan? That whole Taiwan story is unstuck as far as I'm concerned, but their narratives will make it run faster. But they themselves know what the problem are. Okay. So that's why I said China and CCP cannot afford to fail. If they fail, they fall. China falls. The People Republic of China will fall. So those narratives will come even more stronger. Then it has to be proven China's technology is the best. After all, one of China's pillars of survival, and today, whether it's economy or wherever, technology, China's high tech, new productivity forces, all that. So that is important. That can't be diluted. China must be seen to be with its friends. Otherwise, it's internationally wool bother. So it has to stand by Pakistan, come hell or high water. It will never go against Pakistan. And Pakistan is their best friend. CP is the flagship of BRI. So then there's the issue. China cannot allow Pakistan to fall. That has deep interest in Pakistan. Whether it's in Gilgit Baltistan or Gwadar or in other CPC areas, in dams and all that. One of the reasons why China is coming out so much in support is this. Tomorrow, like our Prime Minister said, we'll talk only of POK. POK is not just what is across Jammu. POK is also Gilgit Baltistan. What happens there? What happens to Shaksgam Valley? I mean, you have to understand. As per the original treaty of, I won't say the understanding where Pakistan ceded Shaksgam Valley to China, one of the clauses in that is the ultimate ownership of Shaksgam Valley will be decided between the nations, or between the parties, not nations, between the parties who will ultimately get Kashmir. When the Kashmir issue is resolved, the party, this whole story has to be realigned. The hope was that Pakistan will never give away Kashmir and Kashmir will be theirs. So then the deal is only between Pakistan and China, and then Shaksgam Valley is permanently Chinese, at least on paper. Okay, it is, but that is at risk if something happens to Pakistan. If tomorrow, like our Prime Minister said, we'll talk of POK, and there's something happens in POK and we get POK, then what? Shaksgam Valley is at risk. So deep interests of China are at risk here. So China has to support Pakistan. And then, of course, USA and India must be destroyed at any cost, in any sphere, not physical, mental, financially, everything. And after this whole story, I'm sure that all of us are very clear that, look, China is your enemy number one. Your trading with them has to be very, very, very calibrated. Okay, should do nothing which will assist China in its revival of its economy. Please understand all these facts which I'm trying to bring out. Okay, there's certain things which people must understand. That is, when it comes to war, it's not the economy is stupid. People say, no, it's the economy is stupid. When it comes to war, it's not. If that is the case, why will Pakistan do? Pakistan has no economy. Chinese economy is hemorrhaging, but it doesn't matter. When it comes to thing, there are a lot of things, national pride, territory, everything is at stake. Image is at stake. And economic revival can start with victory in war. That's historical. Why wouldn't China think so? China thought so in 2020 that give India a knock, to revive its own economy. Pakistan also will fancy that. If something India has a reversal, Pakistan will go to the world. Come to us. Why go to India? And the Western lot might go. Might go. Remember this. So these are the issues which we have to bear in mind when we talk of PLA or China, whether they'll intervene or not. But having said all this, let's see what PLA can actually do. Right? Can PLA really attack us? Is it in a position to attack us? What is the level of attack? That is something which we need to understand. So this is basically what I'm going to now put across to you is what I have put together in my previous writings and presentations and all that. I'm going to do a bit of an analysis of the PLA so that you understand what can PLA do actually. Well, we all know PLA is a political army. It's, and there's nothing apolitical of PLA. They completely, if you're not politically aligned, you're not in the PLA. And the leadership of the PLA is beholden to Xi Jinping because Xi Jinping is the head of the CMC. Right? Xi Jinping is very resolute to ensure that the party controls the gun. That has never changed. The PLA has never been allowed to grow stronger than the party. Why? There's a symbiotic relationship between them. In the hierarchy in China, the PLA is just next to the Politburo, or the highest body of the Chinese Communist Party, right from beginning. And the PLA had a role in the Politburo for a long time. It's only off late that Xi Jinping has been trying to get people of the PLA out politically out of the thing. But the CMC holds sway still, very powerful. This goes back to the revolutionary days. Okay, when it was the PLA which propped the party up. Otherwise, the party would have fallen. But in any case, that's gone. Xi Jinping today controls the party. And I always felt and said, being a political arm of the CCP or the militarized arm of the CCP, whenever you do anything with the PLA, look at the political angle. If you don't look at the political angle, you miss the bus. So what's the political angle in this? That's why I said, if China has to intervene, there has to be a political angle. There could be many political objectives, but the political angle, one major thing is China can't lose. China can't be seen to be losing in any occasion. The second thing which now is very, very clear, I'm 100% clear about it, is the CCP is inexperienced. Period. It's inexperienced. If there is anything they would have taken away from this close encounter, high profile encounter of 4 days, is that look, we have a lot to catch up. Whether we can do all this is a different question. And I'll do this analysis. What they can and cannot do along the LAC. A military analysis. Today is the larger thing. Maybe sometime later I'll come out with it. There's a lot of things which we have to discuss. Maybe tomorrow, day after, I'll look at the Pakistan's nuclear story. Has it changed? I think it has. And how do we approach it? What is Pakistan's thinking? Everything. But that's later. We'll now talk of PLA. The first thing is the problem with PLA is the leadership. First thing. This is the Central Military Commission. Central Military Commission was handpicked by Xi Jinping and company in 2022. October 2022 was the 20 party Congress, where he did a whole lot of juggling. He handpicked people and put them, his chelas, in CMC. He handpicked people and put them in the Politburo. He handpicked his own standing committee of the Politburo, which is also of seven chaps. Okay. Uh, so those are his trusted loyalists. But what has happened in the past 1 year, 2 years, really 2 years? Uh, Half the CMC is missing. Like I've said, start, Li Shangfu. We know it started last year. He was sacked. He was picked up, brought into position, and he got sacked. Then, this around October, November, Mia Hua, he's been missing. He was removed, but now it is confirmed that he's been sacked. And third, this second, deputy CMC, vice chairman of the CMC, he be gone. So it leaves Z with Zhang Yujia and the other two. The problem is that there are rumors that Zhang Yujia is against Xi Jinping and he is not allowing Xi Jinping to do many things. But there is also a counter to this that look, Zhang Yujia and Xi Jinping were buddies from for a long time. And Zhang Yujia was past the age of being in the CMC as per Chinese norms. It was Xi Jinping who brought him in. But whatever it is, there are tensions. Has Zhang Yujia turned against Xi Jinping? Many people think so. I don't have any definitive proof of this, except what people say. But it's not all is not well. And as leadership has now only 4 people. Period. 50% of your CMC is out. So where's your leadership? Okay. Now, if 50% of your CMC has been sacked in the past 1 year, what about all these guys? China's disgraced generals. Where are they? They're also gone, no? You can't just say the rot was only at the top. Okay. Now, there's a incident. Interestingly, this was a report in Caxin. Caxin is an economic magazine, Chinese, headquartered in China. It's got an English version and a Mandarin version. If you go by that, this report, okay, in fact, if I say this screenshot is from Caxin, but 3 months old, updated today. There are 14 full generals, 20 lieutenant generals, 50 major generals who have been sacked for uh, corruption and things like that. But at the core, there is some problem. If it is corruption, then their arms are not good. If it is disloyalty, then the leadership is not good. So both ways, whichever way you take, and if there's corruption from top to bottom, the top 3 guys in the CMC have been kicked out, and all these fellows have been also sorted out. Then there's huge corruption down the line. If there's so much corruption, I mean, this is my view. Any commander in the army who's corrupt, you find that he has a problem. His command has a problem. His command won't function. Period. Okay. So it also the Li Shangfu and Bi Fangyi, past 2 defense ministers have been sacked. What's more important? Today's defense minister is not part of the CMC. So I think there are a lot of questions about PLA leadership. Can the leadership deliver in war? This has been a traditional problem with the China, and right, and Xi Jinping has always spoken of 5 incapables. And one of the incapables he's spoken of is, can leadership can lead the PLA in war, in a modern war. And any war with India is going to be modern. Let's be very clear about that. And then there's this map which keeps propping up of five commands, which they have theater commands. So Xi Jinping ordered, rather switched the whole thing into 10 theater command, five theater commands. Along with that, he created, four major services. Yeah, what? If you view it from far, it's all great. But in the past 10 years, China has gone through a churn, huge churn. Okay. And till 2 years back, these four major services which I have shown here is the PLA, Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Rocket Force, PLARF. There are five services today, four services today. But till last year, there were five services. Strategic Support Force. The Strategic Support Force has been split into aerospace force, cyberspace force, and information and propaganda force. Three, it was split together. It was very strong. I thought it was one of the strongest forces of China, but it's not there anymore. He's broken them up. Xi Jinping has broken them and downgraded them and brought them under his control. The political control is important in China. The political angle is always important. People went gaga because what came out was that information support force, and that's come in, and it makes PLA stronger and all. That is the propaganda. The actual thing is he broke up the strategic support force. Why? Because the strategic support force commander, right? The strategic support force commander had a lot of information which would have affected Xi Jinping and company. Hence, this whole story. So you have to understand what is happening in China to know their capability. So if organization keeps changing every 2 years, 3 years, major changes at the top, there'll be changes down below also. If change is so frequent, and you're not fought war, it's not, and this change is not driven by operations. It's not an operational change, it's a political change. Then the question which comes up is the PLA organized for war? And the answer is, I don't think so. Then it's a single child conscript army. This PLA soldiers are not the PLA of the your of the Mao time when they could. It didn't matter them, when how many people got killed. I used to hear human wave theory that hordes of people will come and attack you. This was there in the Korean War also. The Koreans, rather the US forces, kept killing Chinese. Chinese kept dying, but yet the Chinese kept coming. Because at that time, the PLA could afford losses. Can it do so now? China can't afford body bags. And that too in a declining demography. And I'll show you a few examples which have happened. And people are not motivated to join the armed forces because of the single child thing. And then their performance has been horrible. And this is a tweet from, with what happened in Sudan. The Chinese were dealing with Sudan military to sell long range weapon systems. They were kept in a hangar or something like that. The rebels came and attacked that hangar. The Chinese ran away from there. And they left the weapons and ammunition and ran away. This is the thing. And this is true. Okay. And then in the same time, right? This was in 2016. UN peacekeepers, so that is basically Chinese peacekeepers, they refused to go to the aid of locals who were being raped, all that. They're supposed to be peacekeepers. They did nothing. They ran away. In fact, a couple of peacekeepers ran away and came to the Indian battalion for safety. Okay. And There are reports that Chinese, and these are international reports, Chinese completely abandoned their posts. They left their weapons, ammunition, and ran. Would this have changed? The character won't change. Okay, in that same period, a couple of Chinese got killed. Okay, so when they got killed, they came back, a lot of fanfare and all. It provided a backlash. They people in China said, "Look, China has a great power. How can people kill Chinese?" Huh? And this in 2016, what happened then in Sudan was the first instance of uh, operational deaths, if I say so, of Chinese in war or conflict situations after Vietnam. It shocked them. People said, "How can a Chinese die? If you are a strong nation, how can you this happen?" And this had a ripple effect. Okay, now the Chinese don't want to send the families don't want to send their sons and daughters to the army. That's a problem. That's a genuine problem. There might be some change in this at this point of time, because if the economy is not good, every guy will say, "Okay, I'll let me join the army. I get some benefits, tremendous benefits, good pay, assured, study, yeah, all that, lot of benefits." So I might, but fundamentally, they're unwilling because they're all single child. If that fellow dies, what happens to the rest of the family? So people are not willing. So these are the problems and weaknesses of the PLA. Then, of course, there's a huge issue. They've not been in combat. They don't know what operations are. It's nice to say new type of production and new technology, yeah, whoa. But does it translate to battle? I've always felt that the best technology is that technology which wins wars. It doesn't matter whether it's high tech or low tech. If the technology wins you wars, you're good. Technology of the 60s, 70s, 80s, air defense systems has won this round with Pakistan. Best technology. And you don't need the latest equipment to win a war. You need the best troops to win a war. You need the best system which can integrate things to win a war. Okay. And you need good training. When you don't know what war is, how will you train? What are you training on? China has this huge problem. I mean, this is an international view which I flashed, but I'm telling you off the cuff. So, how do I train if I don't know what fighting is all about? And if you see the kind of fighting which is being taken place is completely different from what happened earlier. So, how do you train for it? I'll talk of it a little later, but the space for battle between nuclear powers is decreasing, or rather, there is a space for battle. If one extend one, what shall I say, extend extremity is the Kargil war. What happened? That was also between nuclear powers. The other extremity is what happened in Eastern Ladakh and what's happening now. So you have in the India, Pakistan, China context three examples of conflict, armed conflict. That is the battle space available. No more, no less. You can't go beyond, because if you go beyond, it becomes nuclear in nature. That is why China was absolutely clear of not firing, because they didn't have the confidence to control it. Escalation control is important. So if you have not fought, if you don't know your adversary well, you don't know many things, how we fight, what are you training for? Which is very important to understand the problems which PLA would be thinking of today. especially after seeing the way we have responded. Look, narratives be damned. Narratives can keep happening. You can say we lost, I lost, yeah, all that. Narratives they've done, I think, tremendously well. But heart of hearts, they know what India can do to them. They're not trained for all this. Will they venture into a war? That's a question. Then this is a view which I found, I thought was very interesting. This from either Rand or Carnegie, I don't remember. But when I was going through my writings, I found this. So I thought, let me share it with you. What is it? It says the introduction of advanced weaponry to a military force that is ill trained and ill managed. So, what I said training, management, leadership, organization, all these come into force. So, the introduction of advanced weaponry, they might have the most advanced weaponry, but you don't know how to use it, it's useless. The military force that is ill trained and ill managed might not result in a PLA that can achieve the party's strategic objectives. Okay, the PLA can't do that. What is the strategic objective with India? Can it achieve that? If you can't achieve the political objective against India, you lost it. And how they've lost the political objective against India, I'll talk a little later. If that can't be reversed, there's no war, there's no intervention. But then what's the use of all this new hardware? That's what this writer has said. New hardware enables Beijing to perpetuate its projected images of military strength while concealing continued shortfalls. Oh, I have this, I have J-10 fighter, I have stealth fighter, this fighter, that fighter. Someday I'll also, not very far, very soon, I'll talk about why India's rise can't be stopped. I'll talk of it. We have to understand what's happening. But that's later. Then they have huge equipment issues. I mean, today every Indian is convinced that the Chinese equipment is faulty. I'm sure every Pakistani is also convinced, and so is China's. On the lighter note, more than us, they are convinced कि यार ये हमने क्या लिया है? Right? That equipment failed. PL-15 whole missile you see when lying on ground with us. You see, the HQ-9 air defense systems shot completely. Their navigation links were disrupted, all disruptible. And most of these disruptions took place through soft methods of jamming. They were all jammed. So if you think that means what? They're cyber vulnerable. Equipment is cyber vulnerable. And then they were followed by hard kills. Well, these are things which have happened. And these will play on the Chinese mind. I mean, forget about the nonsense which is being written in the open. I'm talking of things which I would, being a military man, I would say, look, will my equipment succeed? Will my man succeed? Am I organized to fight? These are the questions I'm discussing. It's got tremendous. These are the reports which have emerged over years. I won't say 20 years. In the past 3 years, China has huge equipment issues. One last year or year before last, it came out that 55 Chinese soldiers died in a submarine which sank. It never came out. They never took that submarine out because taking that submarine out is admitting failure. And this will be seen now also. That's why I said China can't fail. It doesn't matter if they sacrifice anything, China can't fail. This is still confirmed. A nuclear submarine just sank when it was in harbor. Even this has not been removed till date. They're not taking it out. Because the moment they take it out, it'll come out. They never spoke of it. Similarly, now they'll not speak of the failure of the HQ9 systems, the failure of J10Cs or JF17s, or the failure of PL15. What I find, which is coming out, interesting. This is interesting. In South China Morning Post, I read an article. They say, no, these are things which you have given to outsiders. What we have is better. What we have, we don't give to outsiders. Okay. How do you know this nonsense? If the chap had all this, he should have been more aggressive. He is not. This is the image, okay, where all those tugs and AO are all there, but the submarine is missing in the center. Then you have to go back to the time Nancy Pelosi landed up in, Taiwan. That was the first time they did a whole lot of firing drills and they circled Taiwan, and from then they established a new normal. A new normal. The new normal is important. I'll talk of it. Just like India has established a new normal now. What is this new normal? We need to understand the implication of this new normal. And I'll do a separate episode on this new normal. Because there are huge implications of this new normal, which we need to understand and operationalize. I think more than anyone, a prime minister understands this. I'm not talking I'm falling on my prime minister. No, I think he understands it. I don't think even the armed forces, have got the new thing. Armed forces are pretty happy that they've been unshackled, but a new normal goes beyond just military. There's a political angle to it, which I'll talk of. I'll do a separate episode on this. Because people need to understand what's happened. That's why I'm doing this. I'm going back and forth between history and current. And I'll try and keep correlating with you all these things. Okay. And simultaneously, I'll also get others to talk of all these things. So, when Nancy Pelosi landed up in Taiwan, the Chinese fired from 3 places and into 3 zones. Okay. Now, the missiles were not accurate. They were not accurate. And that came into focus. And it was at that time Zhang Yujia was appointed in CMC. And I remember I was in USA those days when all this happened. And I have done programs on this Nancy Pelosi thing. They're not in gunner shot because by then I didn't have gunner shot. It was only in 23 March that I started gunner shot. All this story, Nancy Pelosi and all happened before that. Why? Because Xi Jinping was convinced at that time that, look, my PLA won't deliver. So I need an old hand like Zhang Yujia back, and he's my trusted guy. The fact that Zhang Yujia might have turned against Xi Jinping is a different story altogether. So there are, back and forth on this. Now, the moment all this happened, the moment this firing took place of actual missile, some of these missiles went over Japanese islands. See, the thing is, Japan, this is Taiwan, very near in a place called Yaniguni, which is just about 100 kilometers away from, Taiwan, is Yaniguni. Yaniguni is a Japanese island, manned by Japanese. And some of these missiles landed, like this is a strike where it landed. Now, these are part of the Senkakus. Okay. This is where it landed. It landed pretty close, 30, 40, and it landed in Japan's EEZ, not even EEZ, I think territorial waters or something like that. I mean, one doesn't know. The Japanese got upset and they, at that time, lodged a formal complaint. And not only lodged a formal complaint. They deployed their AD there. This was in Jan 23. I remember the story well. I had to go back and pick this out and put all these together to talk. This thing I've been thinking as to what all the outflow is. Internally, the Chinese were clear they had botched it up. And they probably committed inquiries, and a lot of sackings are related to this. But the effect was what? That they didn't have a good missile system. This was a one-sided affair. They just had to fire. They fired 11 missiles, and the 11 missiles didn't go where they're supposed to go. What will they do elsewhere? And you corroborate this with what happened now. What happened to the Pakistani missiles? After all, you also have to understand that they fired this Fatah 2 missiles, but 6-7 of them actually, right? And they wanted to hit Delhi, but they all got intercepted. Taiwan didn't intercept even one, but Japan will tomorrow. And if Taiwan has some sense, what will they do? They will pick up everything from India and all the ideas from India and implement them. The moment that happens, what happens to China's big talk? Zero. And this is serious. This is recorded. In this, there was a DF-17 which was fired off Beijing's east coast, or rather Chinese east coast, somewhere near Beijing. It landed 50 kilometers away from Beijing. It's a nuclear-capable missile, hypersonic, and it took one apartment block off completely. And this, I'm giving you the date, 26 March 24. We're supposed to go that side, and people were scared. That look, is this an attack against Z? Political instability. That's why PLA has always been sacked, resacking, reorganization. It is never stable. So can it fight a war? Question again comes back to thing: can it fight a war? What is the status of the defense industry? This is a slide which I took from Rajiv Narayanan in one of the things he came and spoke. This is a flow. It's got very poor MRO cover to its weapons and equipment. Can't be repaired. They are focusing on newer platforms, less on sustenance of existing. It's okay to have a new platform. What do you do with it if you don't have support? The absorption of technology is very weak. Absorption, I will add one word, deployment of technology is weak. They are all meeting targets which Xi Jinping has set. Look, the fact that you use L-70 guns, repurpose them and for the current role is good. You didn't need costly air defense systems. Cheap stuff which does the trick is the best technology. The best technology is one which wins you wars. Okay. Another thing, their Shandong carrier, number 2 carrier, within 8 months went back to base for repairs. And in fact, there's rumors there's some crack on the runway. It's always been under repair and maintenance. They might say we have 3 aircraft carriers. How many are functional? Right? And the MRO cover of MRO is repair, maintenance and repair organization. To those equipment which has been given abroad is very poor. Now we'll see what will happen in Pakistan. Will Pakistan be able to recover all what they've lost? It's easy to say I lost nothing, but we know we've hit so many air bases. We know many of their air bases have Chinese systems. How much will they recover? And even if they recover, what is the confidence level in that system? And this, I think, is the most important slide which I'm going to discuss. You have to understand. There are 3 discourses on India which were there, which are there for a long. There's a rationalist discourse of Teach India a lesson, or rather a hyper-nationalist school, which says teach India a lesson. There's a rationalist school which believes relations with India are second only to the USA. Okay, you need to buy time while continuously maintaining pressure and seeking bilateral cooperation. That is lean on the LAC. There's a third school which says if China wants to deal with the US challenge, then it has to solve its problem with a secondary challenge. That is the Indian front. It resolve India. If it doesn't resolve India, and if India is neglected, China will be in a two-front situation. Okay. Now let me correlate it to what China has actually done. First, when they came in 2020, they had this teach India a lesson. Oh, we'll teach India a lesson. So many of them in so many, YouTube channels and all, they're there. Oh, we will teach India a lesson. We'll sort them out. We are the better economy. We are better organized. Yeah, whoa, all that. It didn't happen. The moment Kailash Range happened, within a matter of 3-4 months, they switched. They switched. There were no more talk of teach India a lesson. Then the rationalist school came up. We'll bide time. We'll prolong things. We'll lean on the LAC. We'll keep putting pressure on the LAC so that India focuses on the LAC and is always on the hook so that we can enter the Indian Ocean. After 4 years, they realized it was failed. It had failed. They realized that leaning on the LAC has its own problem for them. They have not been able to surmount it. People are dying in the LAC. Same problem. They will not accept body bags at home. They lost more due to cold injuries. It's not a matter of relativity that we lost more and they lost less or whatever, or they lost more and we lost less. It's a matter of absolute. They lost 50 to 60 people in a year. That's my broad guess. If you lose 50 to 60 people in a year, those body bags have gone home. There'll be a negative reaction. My guess is that started happening. And yet, they could make no headway against India. So, what were they doing? There's no pressure on India. So, over 4 years, the pressure vanished. It was now the third point is an operation. Then they finally realized, yeah, ye to hoga nahi. You have to win over India. You have to break, can't, keep fighting with India. You can't fight with India and China. So they've come to this. Intervening for Pakistan is going against back to this rationalist school. Can they afford to do it? Can they afford to do it? They're in a trade war, remember that. And the trade war can lead to another war any day. So there is a problem for PLA. Look, this article came back long back in Nikkei Asia. Okay. It talks of 4 fronts which China faces. Right? You forget about what I've written in red and green and all that. Look at this. As per them, they have 4 fronts. The four fronts are Taiwan Strait, where they are now actively engaged. The Korean Peninsula, which has come up in myriad ways. It is an unseen problem of the Korean Peninsula, which one day I'll talk of. I've not been able to talk, but maybe this week I'll talk early morning. It'll be a short episode, but worth listening to. That's their DFSOS, SOS, Save Our Souls type. The last resort. That's the most dangerous problem they have. It's not India. India is 4,000 kilometers away. It doesn't matter them. India's power projection. Korea, whatever happens in Korea affects Beijing directly. It is like having a heart attack. People don't understand this. Then South China Sea and Asia Pacific, and they're stuck in Philippines. Every day there's a conflict happening. And of course, India, Tibet. They are worried that, look, if I get stuck in any one of these, when involved with India, I'm finished. They call it the chain reaction warfare in China. Will I like to get involved in chain reaction warfare? What is chain reaction warfare? Warfare or war with one leading to another. People have to understand China can't come like that. If it comes, you have to know how to handle it. You will not know how to handle it unless you think through this and you don't understand their political game. The political game is what you have to understand. Pakistan is not their political game. Their game through Pakistan is through Pakistan. Let Pakistan, whatever happens, happens. Assist them to do, why? For Pakistan, a stalemate is a victory. That's what Pakistan is paying out. Pakistan is painting a stalemate against India. A stalemate against India is victory for Pakistan and defeat for India. That is the narrative which is being played out. And China is happy with that rather than coming and getting stuck with us. And then, of course, the new reality which has come out is PLA Air Force has limited, airfields. These are, and all of them except Hotan and Hoping, Hotan basically, are at 4,000 plus meters. See, these are the things. Look at this. Okay. Now, these don't come into action. Or it is these. Knock one of them off. You just have two to three to knock off. You knocked off 11 of them. Here, though there's so many are given, these are not. This is the one. Okay. And Kashgar. This is Gary. Sorry. The one opposite Eastern Ladakh. I'm forgetting its name. Nagari. That's why it's called GAR Nagari. So they have actually Kashgar, Nagari, Shannon, which is Shagatse, right? Then Lhasa, Gonkarla, and Yangtze. Oh, against this, you have so many air. You just saw any airfield right up till Bareilly, everything, Lucknow, all this will be hitting one. You need to take out one. So the air differential has come in today. Maybe one of these days I'll talk about it in detail. So will they attempt anything? I don't think so. Right? So this is the large thing which I thought I'll put across to all of you. All right? That while we can talk of PLA trying to intervene, I don't visualize PLA intervening. Because the cost which PLA has to pay to intervene in this kind of a scenario is pretty low. I mean, I wouldn't say cost is low. The cost is very high. Will they attempt it? Is the $1 million question, right? They might do some movement, but even that they have not done. If Op Sindoor escalates, because you're in a pause, you're in a tactical pause. If it escalates, then they might be forced to do something. But if they are forced to do something, then they have to see what will happen in Taiwan, what will happen in South China Sea. With they're engaged, and what can we do there? That's where a lot of things come in. And this logic which I have put across is not only for the short-term period, but this is also for the long-term period. And then there is this change which I keep talking of. The Indian infrastructure has changed. It has changed enough to make them, uncomfortable. The equations on the LAC have changed. That is something which we have to understand. That is why China, which does all indirect thing, will be more happy to come via Pakistan. And hence, we have to take care of Pakistan more than China today. Today, at least for the next 2 3 years, sort out Pakistan and you've sorted out China. But then these are different views. This is the way I look at it. Things I think after this has changed. And if we think that Pakistan has gone down, I don't think so. Their army is still intact. Many things are intact. All those air bases would be up. There are a lot of issues, but to count them out is not correct. It would be stupid of us. So we'll talk. We'll keep talking of this because we are in a live situation, and I'll expose you to various ways of thinking. Thanks a lot. I'll take some questions. And incidentally, Claus is also conducting a whole lot of events, like one which you saw yesterday. So those also will be streamed through Gunner Shot, so that you get a view of a wider section of military intellect and military and strategic intellect. Okay, so just it's don't respond as if it's my thing. Do join. You can also join Clause. You must also join Clause. You know, channel, Strategic Frontiers channel. You can continue with my channel. Both you can watch. You must, because we are the same. And that Strategic Frontiers does its own programs. I will do my own programs. General Dushyant Singh and I, and you, so that you have more volume and more material. As simple as that. Right, now I'll take some questions. Says, have subscribed to both. Great thing. I think many should follow this. I'll take all the start questions. Thanks a lot, Badoni. So honored and so kind of you for this. Super sticker. Then Suresh Kapoor, welcome to Gunner Shot. But we need China to counter US influence on the world. I don't think so. We need China in a different context. In fact, USA needs us. And this is a new thing, considering what has happened and the way Trump has spoken and the way others have responded. The changed dynamics of USA, India, Russia, and China, we'll discuss. We'll discuss separately. I take your point to some extent, but we'll discuss it. Ramesh, welcome as a member. Sandeep, also welcome as Supradeep Reddy Alamaru, welcome. Raghuram, also, right, welcome as a member. So I'll take a few questions now. Right. So there was a research vehicle meddling in Malacca. They will. Don't expect them not to do it. Hillary Clinton, in talk about Pahalgam, used the term Pak-occupied Kashmir. Your thoughts? Do we have hope in the Democrats? I don't think so. I don't think we should have any hope in any follow. We should do what we want to do. Trump's recent tilt towards Islamic nations and remarks on India raise concerns. I agree with you. We need to think this differently. We'll talk of it. Don't worry, Kishore. We'll talk of it separately. Yeah, and echo your views. PLA will use Pak to Bharat needle. Pak is the front. Yeah, not only test their equipment for everything. Right. Do you think it's time for revolution in Indian military affairs with some big bang defense reforms and increased military budget? You don't need a revolution in military affairs. What you need is more budgeting, and then you'll see things happening. Because you put more budget, your Make in India will go up. The Make in India content will go up. The moment that happens, many things will change. Yeah, Jai Hind, Tamil Hindu, thanks a lot. If China invades India, China can't invade India. Don't ask such questions, please. I've explained to you why China can do what it can't do. So don't. How do you see India-Russia relationship playing out? Given, I think it's very important. Our Prime Minister's trip to Russia, or rather, the Russian president's trip to India, is of great importance, which is going to happen, right? Uh, can China work on religious divisions in India? Yes, of course. China and Pakistan can do that. That's our one of our fault lines, which we have to take care of. Should we be considered that the war is being framed as a Kashmir issue and not a terrorism issue? Yeah, I think so. I think so. This is no more a fight of Kashmir. And that's what, unfortunately, we are fighting against terror and it gets projected as a Kashmir issue. We have two choices: either try to separate it or conflate it. Conflate it and say, I want Kashmir back. If I get Kashmir back, terrorism stops. See, that's the way. There are two ways of looking at it. You say, I keep going to the international media and talking of terrorism. They talk of Kashmir. So solve the Kashmir problem. Retake POK. Then it's only terror left. So it's a way. Whether India can do it or not, I think still we are in the zone. If all events are part of a larger geopolitical game coordinated by players not clearly visible, then Pak and China would only be attack vectors for them. I don't think so. I don't think we are in that game. I don't think this is feasible. I think there are certain things which are beyond all this uh, conspiracy theories. If have only a limited value. Can we use of Mongolia? Historically, Mongolia is a great empire even compared to China. We can, provided we have Russia on our side. You need Russia for this. More than that, I can't say. Yeah, isn't it a very old playbook of all statecraft? Create an external bogey threat that has to be vanquished for the local people to be kept safe from them. Used over and over again. Yeah, that's what Pakistan is doing. That is what China is doing. Who is enemy number two, US or Pakistan? Pakistan still. Pakistan. Isn't it great our Indian systems have shown raw provenness and show the world our battle worthiness? It's all fine, but we shouldn't gloat about it. That should give you confidence and you shouldn't sit on your, backside. Oh, always nice to hear these words. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Gunner Shot and Gunner Shot. Mein swagat hai. Thank you. We boycott Turkey, Azerbaijan, etc. after Op Sindur, but Ambani and Adani are both doing roaring business with China. So who's our enemy? Yeah, you've given a big answer on your own, right? So I think we need to rethink this business story. I think, and I'm sure this will be part of the discourse in days to come. Is Sir the Guanchi is full of rich people or is it dynastic political families in India? It's all their princelings who control Communist Party, rich people who have plundered China, who hold the riches of China. They are the ones who are running the system. The average man in China is getting poorer. That's the thing, which I'll again explain why we have to face. Why do you need to understand China politically and economically? Is how belligerent China can get with you. We'll talk of it. Can we address whether or not Chinese jets are actually good? I only ask because of the amount of press coverage it is given. Like all other Chinese equipment has been proven ineffective. Even this will be ineffective. I have no doubt about it. They have not released. You see, we've lost the narrative war. The narrative is something which we have not won. So, well, that's part of the game. What is the priority to China, India, or Taiwan? To China, India, or Taiwan? I think it's they are stuck with all. But Taiwan is more culturally, they are. It is that. Why would the French spread the narrative that Rafale were shot down? It doesn't make sense. France 24. Are the Chinese paying them? Does that mean the French intelligence failed? France is a left leaning nation traditionally. So there is a whole lot of communists in France, and they would have been invaded by the Chinese. So it's come out as simple as that. How are they able to sack generals so easily? There's no risk of PLA soldiers being yeah, that's a problem they have. There's no doubt. Seeing the Chinese equipment not working properly makes me confident if anything happens between them and us. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I don't see your link, Shashi, whatever it is. Murugan, Jai Hind to you. Right. Then let me take someone new whom I am not. Okay. Good morning, sir. Talking from experience, ITBP, the infra has come up and the building up capabilities of the yellow land is unmatched. India has a long road with respect, China being a revision. That's all fine, but what you have done has achieved something. Every time there's a change, it has an effect that side. It's not a matter. Look, nothing is comparative. It's not that they have better road system than us. It doesn't matter. They have, fine. What we have, what is the effect on them militarily? As we keep improving, the military effect will keep happening. That's the more important thing. I don't think the Chinese will intervene immediately. I also don't think so. Right. You talk of Jai Bangla, forget it. He's a fool. Don't talk Krishna. Waste your time with him. Yeah, my views as a layman, I feel if veterans do podcasts like things on national TV, more citizens will go towards nationalism and leave this fairy tale of everything is easy going in life. I agree with you. That's why I started my channel. But of course, I don't want to go to national TV for other reasons. You have to give time to them. I give time to this my podcast at my whenever I want. That's the thing. Yeah, this is not an era of war. They should know that we know. I agree with you. That's a profound statement. It's about time India bring up the Tibet card. I agree, but we have to do a lot of work for that. We have to have political resolve to start doing that. Because the moment you do that, the one China thing goes out of the equation. Actually, today you have this opportunity. The PLA must be rattled seeing 11 Pak airbases, radars, AD being knocked off. That reset their very important. Forget that thing, what a show of strength, but it's very important that it's in their minds. Yeah, excellent analysis. Thanks a lot. But more importantly, I'd request those of you who are seeing this for the first time to join Gunner Shot. Also, press the thumb button, like button. Okay, that's important for the algorithm of YouTube. After few weeks, you could condense it into top five China. I'll do that. This is an ongoing thing. There's nothing end point नहीं है इसका. Okay, it's a game changer for recovery of. Yeah, I think it's a huge game changer, right? Mm. Can China do a pager-like attack using mobile phones? Other anyone can do it. It's a matter of how people are using those pagers and all. If you get into that mode, see, you can do this against paramilitary forces and all that. Not for everyone. Militants के साथ very good. Okay, Shashikant, thanks a lot for becoming a member. I live abroad, and most Western observers don't realize how united the nation is in backing our institutions, which is different from Pak China. I agree with you completely, Jayant. 100%. And thanks for your contribution. And when people like you, and I would recommend, invite your friends in the, your non-Indian friends to come and, watch channels like mine and more. There are more. So that they understand that how we handle things. Yeah, I think we have covered the whole lot. Thanks a lot. Join me in the evening today evening at about 5:30. I might come live with on Jaipur dialogues, right? And about 8 o'clock we have a panel discussion with Klaus. Not Klaus. We're doing it with Casa, my core WhatsApp group on which I'm a founder. So two important events in the evening. Till then, thank you. Morning and have a great day.